So hello there, this is Chuck with Pocket Snakes again. I'm going to show you an interesting, I'm prepping some strands about ready to braid up an interesting transition. So I'm applying some beef tallow with a little bit of beeswax in it because I like using this. It helps this leather slide and seat well, as well as giving it a little bit of nourishment and a little bit of oil. So I had two 6-foot strips that I cut apart. One strip was blue and 6 feet long, and one strip was yellow and 6 feet long, because I went outside and dyed them earlier, but that video didn't turn out. So now I've got 4 strands. So I've got 4 strands up here at the top, and I'm going to start a braid. So you can set up whatever pattern you want. In this case, I'm going to set up a 8-plate striped. This is an 8-plate striped start. Okay. So once you get this, you could braid an 8-plate round braid or an 8-plate striped snake braid. But in this case, since this is the center, we're pretty close to the center, I'm going to take and hold on to these strands. I'm going to go out about 3 inches or 2.5 inches, and I'm going to quickly tie the strands off. So people ask, how do you start braids, etc.? And I tell them, you set up a pattern to start with. So now we're going to do a 4-plate for the loop. So, and the top one is this one. So it comes around, over, and through. In fact, I'm going to pop this knot, bring it up closer so you can see. And this is a 4-plate round braid. But if you do everything you do with intention, it helps you make decisions and make things consistently the next time you go to do them. And depending on how big of a loop you actually want on the end, you need the circumference. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. So you can measure how big of a loop. So that's enough of a loop to go around my finger. If you want a little bigger loop, you can continue the pattern. for 2 more. Now these are 5mm strips that have all been beveled in a natural cowhide that were then dyed while damp with midnight blue and yellow. Okay, now for the magic bit. You untie it. Sorry about the camera kick. Okay. So we have 2 yellows on top and 2 blues on the bottom. We have two yellows, 1 yellow on top, 1 on the bottom. So we want the yellows on top, so we're going to unbraid this half braid. So that you notice the pattern matches. Okay. Now this strand just got under something, so it's going over, and this strand just went over something, so it goes under. So under this one, over that one. This one's under something, it goes over, and then under. Okay? So now we have 8 strands, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. Yellow, blue, yellow, blue. So there's 2 blues, 2 yellows, 2 blues, 2 yellows. And now what I do is I tie a weaver's knot around this whole thing. So this part is all held fast. And if you have this long tail over here, you can pull it out of the way and tie it up someplace, or just get it out of your braiding path. So if you want to do a round braid with this pattern, it's going to create a spiral, which is kind of interesting. So this one goes under this one, over this one, under this one, over that one. And then this one goes under, over, under, over. Under, over, under. Over, under, over. Now you can see that there's a kind of a spiral pattern to that. Then I'm going to lift this on up, get this loop up higher. It's either that or move the camera downward. Okay, so that's how to transition from a round up here to a round down here, from 4 plate to 8 plate. And you can continue this pattern depending on what you're doing with your keychain, or what kind of keychain or what kind of round whip you're making. Will determine what pattern choices you make. So another pattern you may like in this pattern is you go under 2 over in a flat braid. So you take the top strand on this side and go under 2 over. On this side you go under 2 and over. In this case, on the right side, it's under 2 over 2. under 2 and over, under 2 and over 2, under 2 and over, under 2 and over 2. This is a flat braid that's an unwrapped version of a Whipmaker ringed 8-plate, where you have rings that don't touch each other. And you'll notice you get this M pattern or W pattern in what you're braiding, which is kind of fun. Here, because now we have a nice amount of material. I'm going to go from a flat, which we've been braiding, or I've been braiding. I'm going to switch this to a round. I just came from this side. I'm going to take this one and split those two. This one and split those two. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember what I was talking about with that oddball strand that's left over. Sometimes you have to tuck it away and get it out of your braid, or you'll braid it in. Okay. So there's 8 braided round, 8 plates put in, or 10 in a round pattern. And I'm just snugging these up. I'm not yanking on them. We'll just tighten up that bottom. Okay, so you don't want it to come apart. There's a few different ideas. So you can take some artificial sinew or something like it. Cut yourself off a piece. This happens to be Kevlar, but it's what I have available. And in this case, I'm going to use these 2 strands to do a decorative wrap to cover this up. I'm going to lay this piece over. And I'm cranking down on this pretty good. Let's see how much it's necked down. And then I'm going to tie an overhand knot / a half hitch against the stem. And crank on it, followed by a second one. And Kevlar is not easy to cut, so you'll see me struggle to cut it. So this is a piece of 550 or 650 paracord. You can see it's kind of feathery on the end where it was cut off. You pin that to the back side. You take these two strips here. Okay, so you put, I'm going to put the yellow piece in to the tube of paracord, followed by the blue piece into that piece of paracord, if it'll let me. Then I'm going to grab this piece of paracord and pull it through. There's the yellow strip. But it's a lot easier to draw it through with the paracord if you can. And then depending on what you want for a how you want these tails to be. You can trim them all even if you'd like. So this is the shortest one. You can cut it to the shortest one if you want. You can alternate the direction of the little cut. So when you run it over the top of a hook, or it locks it in nice. Same thing goes for this. This I can show you easily, so I don't have to move the camera. So this is number 2 screwdriver. It's kind of a rubberized handle. You can put it up onto the handle. And that'll tighten up that loop. That'll make the loop nice. And notice the back side of this flat braid is just the natural leather. And the front side, now this is midnight blue that's been thinned down and applied while it was wet. It makes for a nice keychain or a nice braid, and then this is just a decorative covering for that lash that we did. Now this is Chuck with Pocket Snakes saying, thank you for watching my stuff. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to learn.